I think this is Ocean Jasper with me today. Very grounding stone, and I think we could use a little bit of that. We're definitely going to do some grounding breaths before we get into today's lunar energies. If you want to grab a crystal that's calling your name today, you can. I also am wearing my hematite bracelet, which I love to wear anytime I feel like I want just a little bit of extra protection, and really good at sucking all that negative energy away from you and absorbing it and transmuting it. And this Scorpio full moon is definitely wanting to suck out some things from your life, maybe that are not serving you, and we'll get into all of that. So get yourself comfortable as you join me. Don't be afraid to say hello. I'm excited to be here with all of you today. I also recommend for these full moon creative rituals, we go through journal prompts. So it's helpful for you to have a journal with you today. We are going to be exploring some prompts together, and I'm right there with you. I'm going to be writing down some responses. And in fact, I'm going to prep my page here with a little heading so I don't forget what my prompts relate to. So this is a full moon in Scorpio. It is also a lunar eclipse. What does all of that mean? Let's talk about it. All right. So per the usual, full moon energy is something that's going to illuminate, reflect, bring to fullness, to culmination, something in your life, right? So our moon is reflecting the light of the sun in its fullness. We can see everything with a full moon. And actually, quite literally, if you walk outside when there's a full moon, it's as if there's still a light on. And sometimes I even get tricked when I'm laying in my bed and the blinds are open and there's a full moon. I'll be like, who's got a light on outside? And I remember it's just the moon reflecting that bright, bright sun. And it's such a good metaphor for what happens when we experience full moon energy is that the night is illuminated, the shadows are illuminated, parts of ourselves that maybe we were hiding from or weren't really wanting to give much attention to because it's kind of icky and sticky or tricky, gets illuminated, and we kind of can't ignore it anymore. That can feel emotionally overwhelming, which is also something that you might be feeling with a full moon, or as full moons build, is an overwhelm of emotions. That is the moon, is your emotions, and it's being fully lit up. So it's no wonder that the metaphysical manifestation of that would be fullness in your emotions. This full moon in particular is a full moon in Scorpio. And Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, is all about death and rebirth and boundaries and trust and intimacy and sexual energy. So anything related to those sort of themes may be being illuminated for you right now. So if that resonates with you, you're right on track. Don't feel bad. You're right where you need to be. This isn't just any full moon in Scorpio. This is a full moon lunar eclipse. And eclipses are really important because they give us, they're kind of like pivot points in our lives. They give us opportunities to break free from patterns, to shift in new directions. And a lot of times that shifting and that transitioning requires us to let go of things, to release things, to surrender to things, and to surrender things. So you may be feeling in this eclipse energy what is actually happening, which is that the earth is casting shadow onto the moon. So the earth, the reality of your life, the reality of the choices you've made up to this point, the reality of the present, which is the present, which is the energetic manifestation of who you've been before. So don't feel bad because you're different now. But who you've been before energetically has manifested this present, this present, and that the reality of it is being cast upon a fully illuminated moon for you to see it and to decide, what are you going to do? Do you like what I'm showing you? You know, the moon is kind of, are you happy with that? Are there places where you still want to make cuts? Are there places where you still need to pivot and move away from? Because Scorpio is always going to ask you, where are your boundaries? Where are your lines? Who do you let in? Who do you not let in? What do you let in? What do you not let in? Okay. All of these things can relate to so much, right? They can relate to relationships and people in our lives. We're in relationship to so many things. We're in relationship to food. We're in relationship to substances. We're in relationship to schedules and time. Do we create boundaries around our creative time? Do we allow ourselves to protect the time that we have for work, but not protect the time that we have for play? Do we allow boundaries to protect the emotional health of others, but not ourselves? So Scorpio is going to ask you, where do you draw the line? And are those lines drawn in places that actually support where you'd like to see yourself, where you want to go creatively, where you see your life expanding and journeying to? Or do those lines support who you were, who you've been, what you present that's being shown onto the moon at this time? The reality of what you've created. So there's no room for judgment in these evaluations. Spirit is always giving us an opportunity with any lunar event to just reflect, especially full moons. Let's just reflect. Let's reflect on this. Let's look at it. Let's see what has been revealed, and let's decide moving forward what we're going to do. And especially with this eclipse, you have the energetic support of the universe to make the cuts you need to. So, the way that this ritual is going to work, we're going to first center ourselves with some breath and really just become present in this moment together. And then we're going to explore the various themes of this lunar event. And we're going to do that through both the journal prompts that I presented on online. If you didn't grab access to them, they're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, but you can also just wait for me to read them to you. So don't feel like you need to go grab them or anything. But we'll go through those, and then we'll also ask Spirit through the tarot for some guidance related to each theme. So I'm going to use my Radiant Rider Waite deck today. Very classical images, so also you can kind of learn to utilize the tarot. Okay. So if all that sounds good to you and you're ready to go, let's go ahead and get even more comfy than we were before. Wiggling in our seat, stretching out our backs, our shoulders, our neck, whatever you need to do to get really comfy. Ah, the sun is in Taurus. Taurus is all about the comfy, get it comfy, get it good, get it feeling really good. Mm. Sitting up nice and straight. Maybe your feet are flat on the ground. Maybe you're in lotus position, feeling nice and grounded and supported by the earth. Take a big deep breath into your belly and let's sigh it out. Let's do that a couple more times just to kind of give ourselves permission to be here. Breathing in and sigh it out. Right here, right now is all you need to do. Need to be breathing in again and sigh it out. Very good. Now I would like to do 3 four corners breaths. So we're going to inhale for 4. We're going to hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold out for 4. And we're going to do that 3 times, okay? So taking a nice big deep inhale into the belly for a count of 4, nice and slow. 2, 3, 4. And hold it in your belly big. And exhale out, slow. Pulling that belly button to spine. And hold the breath out. Inhaling in, letting your abdomen stretch, fill, holding it up in there, pulling the belly button spine around, holding it up. Last one, into the belly. With a full moon, when the sun and moon are opposite each other, we're playing this. I hope. Let me know if the audio is okay. I do have some music playing in the background. So this play between Taurus and Scorpio is really present, obviously, in this full moon because those are the oppositional energies. So when we talk about protection, oftentimes it can be construed as this thing that, like, I'm protecting myself from getting hurt, feeling pain, um, things I don't like, right? And that can start to, at a certain point, become a very constrictive. You see how I'm, like, even just manifesting it physically as, like, I'm constricting myself in an effort to protect myself. That's not the highest vibration of protection that Scorpio is trying to ask us to embody. Protection is not about closing yourself off, okay? It's about on one end, yes, protecting yourself from things that are not love, but it's also about protecting the things you do love, things that do matter to you. So, like my sensei taught us about Scorpio, that Scorpio's the fence, right? We put fences around, we put borders around things that we value. And it's just as much about keeping stuff out, but it's also about protecting what's in. Okay. We're going to ask a lot of questions at this full moon about what is my fence around? What are my fences around right now? What do my lines protect? Maybe if you're like me and you're struggling with uh, substances, I use caffeine in a way that I don't feel comfortable using caffeine. Maybe that's not a big deal for you. It is for me. Um, I don't like feeling like something else is in control, more in control of me than I am. So, so as of right now, if I'm being fully illuminated and the moon is saying, "Oh, these are Jules. Oh, hi. I love you. Thank you for being here." Feeling like I have to do everything myself. Mm. Oh, I know that feeling so well. So if that's what if doing having to do everything, feeling overburdened, what we want out of our circle, and what do we want to protect? Maybe again, similar to mine, it's balance. Maybe it's lightness. Maybe it's room to breathe. I want to protect having room to breathe. So then, where do we draw lines? Well, I'm going to draw a line around having room to breathe, and anything that wants to pull me out of having room to breathe is not it's not welcome in my circle. Okay? You can also draw lines around thoughts and inner dialogues that are unsupportive. So, what is it that you want to protect? I think sorry, I want to pull up the first one here talks about this, and as we explore that prompt, I am going to pull some guidance from the tarot. But the first prompt asks, actually, I'm going to skip to prompt two. Um, I forgot to kind of switch these around. This feels a little bit more like what we're talking about. So, how are your current boundaries with all things? Remember, it's all things: time, schedules, people, food, substances, um, activities. How are your current boundaries with those things helping, support, or hinder your creative dreams? So, think about where you want to be, the life you want to be living as a creative, and how are the boundaries that you currently have, the lines you've currently drawn around things, helping or hindering that vision of where you want to be? Again, for my example, if my vision of myself and my creative life and my creative dream life and who I am is balanced, okay, the boundaries that I have allowing too much coffee into my life to where I feel agitated and anxious and out of balance and getting headaches and all of that does not support where I see myself going. It's just getting clarity on those things. We don't want to judge it, just getting clarity. So I want you to explore that journal prompt while I pull some tarot regarding boundaries. Wings of Jewels says they want to protect their energy. Yeah, who doesn't? I see the devil popping out here. That is all about where we give our power away, the things we allow to control us, forgetting that we are in control. We are the one who gets to decide what has control over us or not. We think we don't. Society tries to tell us we don't, but we do. Our soul knows the truth that we do. We are creating our reality. We do have control. We can direct our energy and focus onto something else and move in that direction. It may take time to shift, but we can do it. So, something I want to ask you, um, I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but again, full moons is all about reflection, inner reflection. What's coming up for you right now? How do you, let me see, how do I want to ask this question? How do you currently perceive boundaries? How would you like to perceive boundaries? Again, a lot of people feel protection is about closing oneself off. But maybe you want to see it more as like a mother bear protecting her cubs, protecting what you love. And that's where we're trying to kind of move in that direction, protecting what we love, what we value, Taurus, to you. And then we'll explore it together. Mm. Hmm. Okay, I see. So there's a transformational energy with Scorpio, and I feel like I'm jumping all over the place with these themes, but they're all together. It just goes together. I try to segment them out for the sake of the format of this uh, creative ritual, but I'm being guided to like mush them all together because they are all one thing. They're just different aspects of the same scorpionic archetype. And I'm being drawn to this idea of transformation. And we talk a lot about it using animal totems like the butterfly or the phoenix. And we talk a lot in regards to the butterfly about, being the caterpillar and then transforming into the butterfly. And I was even guided today to bring this little butterfly with me that I made for my mom's funeral memorial. Um, and I was shown an image of like, we talk about the transformation, but we don't let the butterfly fly away. Like, we don't sometimes take that final step in, like, well, you've transformed, you have wings now, go fly. Like, go, leave your little mushroom now, go, like, you can leave. Um, and I say it laughingly, but, like, it's so true in that we do all this inner work and we become these new people day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, but we stay where we're at until that gets so uncomfortable that something comes in and, you know, crashes around us. We lose a job, we get divorced, we have a health scare, um, something literally falls apart because we haven't flown away. We haven't flapped our wings. We have the wings. We've done the work. We've transformed. We've become anew, but we've not left our previously set boundaries. And I think that's where this Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse is trying to say, where are your lines now? What is valuable to you now? Start protecting that. Stop protecting the old life, the old things that mattered to you, that don't matter to you anymore, the people who mattered to you but don't matter to you anymore, like the habits that mattered to you but don't matter to you anymore. You're different now. You've grown now. You transformed now. You're new now. You've been reborn now. Judgment. These people coming out. This is our masculine, feminine, inner child coming out of the cocoon. Butterflies flying away. Spirits saying, come on now, fly, fly, fly away. You're not bound to this little mushroom anymore. Fly away. So, where are those boundaries? Where are those lines? Which ones are old? That might even help if you're thinking like, which boundaries are old boundaries? And then considering the new direction, the new person, the new energy that you are and have and are being and becoming, what are the new boundaries? And I want to pause for a moment and kind of cycle back to the first topic, which was about protection and vulnerability, which I didn't quite mention yet because oftentimes we think that vulnerability is a bad thing, but vulnerability is actually a really good indication of where you need more love and protection in your life. So, where, and this is one of the prompts that I posted online, where does your creative vision feel vulnerable? Write that down. Let's journal on that one. I even want to journal on that one. Where does your creative vision feel vulnerable? Close your eyes, breathe into the question. Where does your creative vision feel vulnerable? Is it that you're afraid to step into your leadership power? Are you still vulnerable there? Not sure how to ask for help? Not sure how to decline taking on things that you no longer interested in taking on? Not sure how to pivot from one um, medium that used to excite you to a new one you want to try, but you're scared of starting over creatively, becoming a student again? Where does your creative vision feel vulnerable right now? And as you start to illuminate where you feel vulnerable still, begin to formulate an open space for how could you provide more love and protection around that thing? How can you create a protective order around that thing? Not so that you keep anything out, but so that you can protect the vulnerability and allow it to strengthen, right? Because when that butterfly first comes out of its cocoon, it is still pretty vulnerable. I mean, it's a little squishy still, probably. It's not totally comfortable flapping its wings just yet. So, how can you add a little bit more love and protection around that vulnerable space? If it's maybe giving yourself more grace, it's always giving yourself more grace, I hear. That's a given in everything. Always give yourself more grace. And that means room to not know what you're doing, room to not have it all figured out, room to still be vulnerable and have that be okay, room to step into a leadership role and still feel a little scared about it. That's giving yourself grace. That's okay. That's you protecting that vulnerability, allowing it to be, giving it time. Protection also is about time. Protection is about time. If you're not ready to do something yet, give yourself more time. That's how you protect your vulnerability. That's how you give yourself grace. Give yourself more time. Don't rush yourself to do things you're not ready to do. You know, we think, "Oh, I gotta change. I've changed, cut boundaries, lines," but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about how do we protect the new love we have for ourselves, the new respect we have for ourselves. I don't know about you, but I've never respected myself as much as I do now, today. I would crap on myself constantly, tell myself I'm no good. I'm never gonna be. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not good enough here, not good enough there. I have never had so much respect for myself as I do now. As a leader, as a partner, as a mother, as an artist. How do I keep that respect protected? Well, it's I'm more patient with myself. I demand patience with myself. I demand grace for myself. I demand that I am given room to be afraid and not judge myself for it. Those are the lines and boundaries. I don't make myself feel guilty if I need to rest a day. If I'm overwhelmed, I ask for help and I don't feel bad about it. These are the new lines, the new boundaries, the new ways of protecting your vulnerability. So, where does your creative vision feel vulnerable? And how can you provide yourself more love, more protection? And I'm going to add more time. And I'm going to ask Spirit to help us. Because it's hard to be vulnerable. We're told so often not to be strong. What does that even mean? I think it's strong for you to ask for more time to make a decision that feels scary to you. I think it's strong for you to say and admit to yourself and to others you're not ready yet to move on or to let go. Maybe that's being strong. All right. We got the Page of Cups. We got two cards actually. We got the Page of Cups and a Queen of Swords in reverse. Hmm. 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 Okay, so let's start with this little page because he's quite vulnerable. This could be you. This could be the new dream that you have. It's just starting. This little fish in this cup is pretty vulnerable here. And it's like we can see the vision, but we can't quite see how to get there yet. The Queen of Swords, which is generally a card of clarity, understanding, wisdom, knowingness. She's upside down, meaning we haven't fully embodied that yet. We're working on it. We're getting there. Spirit's telling us we can do that. She's also definitely is the queen of the cut. Like, and she's no BS. I see what I need. I see what I don't need with the sword. Make it so. She makes it so. She doesn't ask for permission from other people. She doesn't beat around the bush. I know what I need. I know what I want. Here it is. Okay. But we're just not quite there yet. You may not quite be there yet. You may not quite be confident yet. You may not quite be ready yet. And that's okay. This card also has butterflies on it. Just so you know. But you may not quite be ready yet. And that's okay. Mm, mm, mm. I'm looking at the pages close and noticing the lotuses. I never really noticed that before, that his pattern on his clothes has lotuses. Can you see that, Instagram? Sorry, you're a little farther away. Um, and most of us know lotuses, right? They're bulb flowers. They grow underground in the mud of a muddy pond, and they go through all the mud and the gross mucky stuff and like put out a little lily pad, and then a beautiful flower blooms and it's pure. It's completely untouched by the mud. But why is it clean and pure and untouched by the mud? Because It protected itself as it was moving through that stuff. And then when it was ready, it opened. Okay. So I do feel like we're being asked to be patient with ourselves. Definitely do not speak harshly to yourself or anyone else for that matter. I want to, whoops. I do want to get one more card. 'Cause I feel like there's more to this whole vulnerability thing. Um, when do you know when you're ready? It's not when you're not scared anymore, just so you know. That's not that's not the clue that you're ready, just so you know, because that fear may always be there. Mm. Yes, exactly. Cool. All right. So the fear not being present is not the sign you're ready. So let's just get rid of that. That's not true. I'm afraid all the time. In the back of my mind, I really am. I mean, even coming on to do these lives, how many of these moon lives have I done at this point? And I still get afraid, sometimes before, sometimes during, sometimes after that. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't resonate with people? What if I stumble? What if it falls flat and no one likes it? There's all of those things floating around, right? And when you create, especially, it can pop up at any time. And that's not an indication that you're not ready or you shouldn't do it or you're trying to accomplish something that's bigger than you can accomplish. You know, when you're ready, when you have more faith than you have fear, that's when you're ready. When you have more grace than you have fear, that's when you're ready. When you're fully prepared and comfortable with the idea of nurturing yourself should you fall flat on your face and it doesn't work out the way you want to, but you're like, I'll be okay because I have me. That's when you're ready. When you can give yourself the gift of that space. The Fool could definitely fall here with this card and all this beautiful yellow and this purity of this white rose in his hand. It's insane. He has more faith than fear. He's not looking at the path below him, he's looking or the cliff. He's looking at the sun, he's looking to God universe, he's looking to his faith, his or her, gender neutral, Fool. There. It doesn't matter. You have an opportunity to grow every time you protect and honor where your vulnerabilities are and ask that others do the same. And if they can't, they don't want to, if they won't give you the grace, the time, the patience, the space that you deserve, that you know your soul is worthy of these things that you're giving to yourself are a manifestation of love, and others around you or schedules or whatever aren't in alignment with that. Add them to the list of things that needs to go when you're ready. You don't have to do it today because it's the lunar eclipse. I've got to break up with so and so. But just add it to the list of things that's just not working for you anymore because now you're different. Your butterfly's ready to fly. They're still sitting on the mushroom, and they'll sit on the mushroom as long as they need to, and that's not your problem. That's their journey. You do yourself no favors by sitting on the mushroom when you have wings. They're not ready to grow their wings. That's you giving them the same grace and time they need. But you are not obligated to stick around and wait. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right. Let's talk about that transformation. Let's talk about that butterfly because if you trust yourself, if you trust your vision of who you want to become, the creator you want to be, the life you want to live, if you really trusted that that is absolute, it's going to happen. You're going to become that. You are that. It's simply a matter of you catching up to yourself. That is who you're going to be, the author, the painter, the writer, the sculptor, the dancer, the yogi master, whatever it is, that's your path. I know it in my heart. My soul tells me that's my truth. And you trust that. If you trusted that, I'm not saying you have to trust it right now, but if you did, play with this. If you did trust that that was inevitable, what outside yourself would change? Where would you be? Who would you be around? How would you operate day to day? What would be the reality that you would exist in? Write that down. Get it on the paper. Get it in your journal. If you fully trusted yourself to become the creator you know you are inside, what transforms outside yourself in response to that version of you? Where do they exist? What's reflected outside of their energy? Because what we are, be within, is what we see without. It may take time for that transformation to happen, but that is the law. Okay, so that version of you that's already being, what's what is outside of them, what's reflected outside of them. Close your eyes, breathe into it, take notes of what you see. Because you're all clairvoyant, by the way. Maybe just some stronger than others, but you have that capability to vision into your future. And the work that we do in these lunar is helping you develop these senses. So, yay. You becoming that version of you is the creative journey. You destroying all the art that you've made up to this point because you're sick of it and you want to try something new, that's your creative journey. You stepping into leadership roles in your community through your creative expression, that's part of your journey, including the being afraid to do it, the learning to give yourself grace, the exiting people out of your lives who are no longer in alignment with that vision. All of those things are part of this path. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not going in the wrong direction. You haven't messed it up. You are on the way to that version of you. How can how can we better support ourselves in this transformation? We've already been given some answers, right? Grace, time, patience, protecting our vulnerability, letting ourselves be vulnerable. How strong is that? Own it. Take a day. That's you protecting yourself. You're not walling yourself off from the world. Whoa. Hmm, that's not what it's about. It's about honoring where you're at in every now moment, letting that be okay. Because you trust that you're going to get there. That's what I was talking about with this prompt. If you really trust it's inevitable, you're going to get there. There is no other way for you to go. You are going to be who you want to be. You are going to be who you feel in your heart when you vision your future that lights you up, fully expressed, fully authentic, living life the way you want to live it, doing things you. We were just talking earlier about having to do everything yourself. That's this card. And I'm very intimately familiar with this card. And what happens, how this happens, is that we keep racking up beliefs. We keep holding on to things that are untrue. Um, no one is here to support me. I have to do it all myself. I don't have love and support. I can't ask for assistance. They'll think I'm weak. They'll think I'm bad. They'll, you know, these beliefs we keep holding on to and just stacking and stacking and stacking these beliefs that leave us feeling alone and overburdened. But this is a 10. This is the end. This is a sign saying, drop it. You don't have to do this anymore. You don't have to hold on to those beliefs anymore. You don't have to let those things be true for you anymore. You can choose differently. You can decide you're worth more. Sun and Taurus is teaching you that right now, is sending you. Every time the sun is beaming down on you, you go outside while it's in Taurus, it's trying to beam to you the archetype of self-worth. You're worth more. You're more valuable. Look at life. Isn't it beautiful? Look at the earth. Isn't it beautiful? Fragrant, delicious, abundant, supportive. It's here for you. Soak in those rays. Wear your sunscreen. But soak them in. Soak those rays of value in to your soul. Take them as a gift. And remember, you don't have to believe things that aren't of love anymore. Can, and you're capable and you're amazing. And of course, you can carry all the things and you can do all the things and you can juggle all the things. Doesn't mean you should. Because if you're being really honest with yourself, probably not having much fun, probably not enjoying much of life. Look, this character is like not even looking up. They're missing out on so much by trying to prove to themselves that they can carry it all. Mm. And look at the bottom of the deck. We have the Queen of Cups. If that's not protecting your vulnerability right there it is. Only closed cup in the whole deck. Your sensitivity is such a gift. I know I mentioned this in one of our previous rituals, but I want to bring it up again because it needs to be said one more time for the people in the back. Your sensitivity is a gift. When you're bothered by something, when you're disturbed by something, when you feel off balance by something, When you sense something is off, it's a gift. You're being sent a message. You're being given information, valuable information. Question is then, what do you do with that information? Do you blame yourself? Do you make yourself feel bad? Do you talk all kinds of shit in your head to yourself? Or do you do something about it? Do you notice it and say, "Oh, that doesn't make me feel good anymore. That person doesn't make me feel good anymore. This situation doesn't make me feel good anymore. Doing all this stuff doesn't make me feel good anymore." And then do you have the courage to admit that? You have more faith and fear to go ahead and take steps away from that so you can start living your life, speeding up the transformation process. Like, you're still going to get there, but are you going to get there with a broken tire, or are you going to get out, change the tire so that you can go faster towards your destination? The choice is yours. Because where you draw the line, the things you allow into your life, the things that you protect and insist upon is how you're expressing love. Boundaries are love. So are your boundaries protecting what you love, or protecting or keeping you from love? That's how we'll say it. Are your boundaries protecting love, supporting love, nurturing love, allowing love to grow, giving love time and space to expand? Or are you keeping love out by insisting upon beliefs and ways of doing things that no longer support where you want to go? Scorpio is a very honest sign. Um, I don't know if any of you are a Scorpio or know a Scorpio, but that archetype is willing to look at all the icky stuff with clarity. I know this is Queen of Swords, but that energy is still there. um, we know Scorpio as the scorpion, but in some earlier astrology, the eagle is the animal associated with Scorpio. What do we know of eagles? You say eagle eyed, right? You can see really clear, really far, really honestly. That's also Scorpio, that penetrating gaze into what is deep down. So we got to get honest with ourselves. And this full moon is probably illuminating some places where you need to get honest with yourself, get real with yourself. What's working? What's not working? What's supporting you? What's not supporting you? And this leads me to our creative prompt. If boundaries are love, what are you protecting? What do you want to be protecting if you're not currently protecting what you want to be protecting? Boundaries are love. What are you protecting? Draw it, write it, paint it, dance it, sing it, think about it, reflect on it, and create something in manifestation of it. The process of using your art to reflect on these things will heal you faster. It is your gift, not just to show to the world. It is your gift the divine has given you to help you through these moments when you're struggling, when you're not sure what to do, when you can't make sense of your life, when you don't know how to process things. Turn to your art, whatever that is, whether it's moving your body, picking up a camera, it doesn't matter. Use your gift to help yourself first. That's why I give you creative prompts, because I believe your art is meant to heal you. And if you do end up creating something, I would love to see it. So please tag Awakened Creators, send it to me in a DM, and I'll put you in my stories. I want to see what you create when you explore these things um, with your art and your heart wide open. So let's see if there's anything else before we close. This is a tender, tender moon. I just want to say that I have been dealing with my own stuff. Um, just the other day, I was bawling my eyes out. So don't think that just because, we're here and we're talking about this, or you're seeing people online discuss this Scorpio energy very powerfully, because it is powerful. But the underbelly of that is that vulnerability. And if you're feeling vulnerable, if you're feeling tender, if things are coming up for you that you're like, they're just hot to the touch, add more love there. Put some more time there. Put some more protection there. Get yourself into a space and a place that feels safe, whether that's a bedroom, nature, the beach, the forest, turning to your journal, turning to your canvas, turning to a beloved friend who you trust. Turn into, turn towards that vulnerability as your way of showing how strong you are and protecting yourself with love, loving yourself. So, um, also don't be afraid. Like, everything's going to be okay. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but don't be afraid. Everything is going to be okay. Just give it more time. Let yourself have more time. Okay. You don't have to change overnight and transform overnight. That's not what this moon is asking you to do. Just asking you to find that clarity you need to know what's probably gonna get cut out 6 months. So the things that are coming up for you now, if that feels good to you to say, okay, whatever's coming up for me now, I have like 6 months to deal with it. Give yourself that time. That is the space, that is the boundary you're creating around this thing, um, if that feels good to you. So, no rushing. No rushing. You're guaranteed to get where you're going to go, baby. You've got that life, that vision on lock. You are it. You are it. You are it. That vision of you in the future that you see living your best life, you are it. You're just catching up to yourself. So give it time. I love you so much. The next new moon creative ritual we're going to do is later this month. And it's a new moon in Taurus right before we shift into Gemini. That is a new moon where we're going to be planting seeds of self-worth and value. So if that's part of this situation where you're feeling vulnerable, that's being illuminated right now, Spirit's giving you an opportunity then in the next lunar event to plant the necessary seeds of self-worth and value um, for yourself, then that can begin to start manifesting in that 6-month period, because that's usually about what we have um, from new moon, like new moon in Taurus to full moon in Taurus, will be 6 months or so. 6 months or 9 months. Yeah. Well, it'll be in Scorpio season, which is in October. So I think it's 6 months. So that same timeline. So these two moons are very, very much so connected, and I highly encourage you to come back for the new moon in Taurus creative ritual, because we're going to be affirming our self-worth and planting some seeds of worth and around our value as the new versions of ourselves, the versions of ourselves that we want to make manifest our future. Um, I also do want to remind you, I hope that you enjoyed the week of live that we had. Was it last week? Or maybe it was the week before already. I don't remember. Um, but that was something new that I tried. I did a creative update one day. We did a channeling Q&A support session, which was so amazing. And I want to hear more of your questions. I want to channel more guidance for you. Um, and then we did an interview. So I want to keep that going. That was really fun for me as a creator, as a leader. I enjoyed it. So 1 week of the month, I would like to do this week of live, where I will share a creative update. And I already know the piece I'm going to share, which is a piece that I did in the process of healing from some abuse that I experienced in childhood. So if at all you feel like you'd like to see a sister, a fellow soul talk about their experience of transmuting that dark energy into something beautiful, join me for that creative update. I'm going to share the piece. I'm going to talk about what it means to me and how I created it and what that process of healing looked like. Then I would love to share that with you. Then we'll do another channeling Q&A, and I have an interview I really hope works out. I'm still trying to get it coordinated, but I have someone, a beautiful, beautiful soul that I can't wait for you all to meet, who's an incredible healer, and we're going to talk more about healing sexual energy, distorted energy there. That's really closely related to creativity, actually, because that's all that sacral chakra. So if you've ever experienced abuse, if you've ever experienced assault or any of those really disturbing experiences, and you struggle in some ways with your creativity, it could be very much related. And I really hope this interview with this particular individual works out, because I think that they would be offering so much wisdom to this community, to those of us who have struggled in that area. So I'm going to be really vulnerable with y'all, and I hope that it encourages you to honor that vulnerability within yourselves, do something about it, protect the love that you now have for you, and manifest a life of pure joy and bliss, because you deserve it. I love you. I hope you enjoyed this moon creative ritual with me. I hope you share it with a friend and invite others into this Awakened Creators community who you think would benefit from connection with me, with us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being devoted to your art, to your heart, to you. I know it's not always easy, but you are doing it, and you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you so much. All your love. I love you all that much back and more. Bye for now. I love you guys. Bye.